Habit number 5, stay away from credit cards. Stay away from credit cards are dangerous. When people go into debt, they lose a portion of their freedom. Now, it's one thing to borrow money to buy a house, but it's another thing to take on financial obligations that you can't keep. And that is why credit cards are so dangerous. Because credit cards are designed to try to trap you into going into debt and having to pay interest. Right? Have you noticed that in general, people spend a lot more money when using a credit card than they do when using cash? Why do you think that's true? Because when you use cash to pay for something, right? Think about it, you're in the store and you're using cash to pay for something. As you see that cash leave your hand, it's more of an emotional, painful experience than when you just give them a credit card. Holler if you hear me. Right? It's physical. You know, when you pay for something using cash, you end up spending less because it's more of an emotional experience when you use cash. It's easy just to give them a credit card to swipe. And so that's why so many people get trapped with credit cards. They overspend with credit cards. So use cash instead. Or now some people say, well, I don't want to carry around a lot of cash, right? Well, use a debit card. A debit card is better than a credit card because a debit card, when you use a debit card, the money gets immediately subtracted from your bank account. So you can't go into debt, right? Using a debit card, it protects you from going into debt. So use cash and a debit card instead of a credit card. Now, my only one exception is this. Only one exception. If you plan to use it only for automatic routine payments, like paying a cell phone bill that comes due same amount every month, right? Routine, automatic payments, and you are 100% sure that you will pay it off in full each month. That's my only exception. Now here's the thing. Most Americans can't do that because most Americans can't control that. And so for most Americans, it's best just to stay away from credit cards altogether. Holler if you hear me. So use debit cards or cash instead. Now here's the thing about credit cards too. If you don't pay it off in full each month, if you have a credit card and you don't pay it off in full each month, they charge you interest, and the interest will start to really add up. So like for example, suppose that spring break comes along and you want to really go on this vacation. Suppose you want to go to Europe on a spring break vacation and it costs like $5,000 say, right? And you don't have the money. Now, is that a need or a want? It's a want. And what should you do if you don't have the cash for it? You should wait until you can save up the cash for it, right? But a lot of people, they will go ahead and use a credit card, borrow money, and to go on the vacation. So like for example, let's say you had a $5,000 balance on a credit card, right? With an 18.9% interest rate, which is a typical interest rate for a credit card. And your minimum payment was $200 each month. It would take you 11 years and 5 months to pay the entire balance. By the time you make the last payment, you will have paid $8,109 for a $5,000 purchase. Do you see how the interest adds up and you start having to pay so much in interest? So stay away from credit cards.